Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of my Pokemon Battle Series, the School of Hard Knocks. So throughout this episode, like every other, we're jumping onto the Pokemon Global Link Battle Spot Rating ladder, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are the equivalent rule set of the VGC 2017 season. So, this is day 3 with the new team. We played Monday, went 1-1. Played Tuesday, went 1-1. So today I am super determined to play at least 2 or 3 games and get 3 wins with the team. Hopefully we've had a bit of a time to adjust to the team and think about how we're what we're bringing to the team in certain situations, and kind of pairing that up with how I built the team on paper. And we just need to transition that onto the actual battlefield. So hopefully I can do that today with you guys. We'll follow this episode up with another QR code series after this, so stay tuned for that, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you want the updates when that come out, hit that subscribe button and make sure that you're getting all those updates when the new episodes of things are coming out. So, I'm in a bit of 2 minds with the team. I really like it on one hand, but on the other hand, it seems to be doing well in certain situations, but then in other situations, we're kind of really struggling against certain methods of speed control, and my opponent's kind of jumping on opportunities to take advantage of when to set that speed control up. We're not kind of seeing through that, and then when the speed control is up, say a Trick Room or a Tailwind, we're not taking advantage of that at all. So we need to maybe look at that and maybe look at how we're approaching games as well. So without further ado, we have our first opponent of the day. Happy Wednesday to Yordi from Ireland, and he is running a team of Snorlax, Talonflame, Salamence, Tapu Fini, that's the pre-evolution of Silvally, and Xurkitree. So, how are we going to approach this here? Obviously, Trick Room orientated team, and he's got the Snorlax in there to cover any Trick Room if his opponents have started to set the Trick Room. I'd imagine that's probably more of a cursed Snorlax there. But I think we're pretty alright with, Muck doesn't do too bad a job here. Cortana, again, does a nice job against a lot of Pokemon on this team. We need to be very careful, though, with the Talonflame and the Salamence. We need to make sure that we're clearing the field of those before unleashing the Cortana of my opponent's team that can deal with things like the Snorlax and the Tapu Fini quite easily. I do like the Marowak here as well. It's going to give us a lot of cover against the Xurkitree. But I think here what I will do, it's a bit boring, but I think it will work. And I think I will bring this 4. We brought this 4 to the match yesterday. It didn't quite work out. My opponent got that Tailwind set up late game, and he just had enough of that hidden power ground to take care of the Marowak, and then my Cortana was in a really vulnerable situation just to get taken out by the Talonflame. So we know what the threats are. We've just got to play to the game plan and make sure that we're not falling into those traps again. So we see my opponent lead off with the Salamence and the Talonflame, and we're going to lead off with our Mandibuzz and our Tapu Fini. So straight away we will get the Misty Seed boost with our Mandibuzz, which will protect us more against what the Salamence can throw at us at this point. So, but I think I'm pretty free to just start going for. I'm going to go for that Tailwind again to match the Talonflame's Tailwind. Or should I? Actually, what I'm going to do, rather than do that, I'm going to go for a Foul Play into the Talonflame, get some damage off onto it this first turn, and go for a Calm Mind with my Tapu Fini while I've got the chance to. Then this next turn, we should still have enough in the tank with our Mandibuzz to set a Tailwind up that next turn. That'll potentially give us that extra Tailwind turn when their Tailwind ends. And by doing this, I'm getting good damage onto that Talonflame now with the Mandibuzz's Foul Play, and I'm also in a position next turn to set the Tailwind up for the latter stages of this game. So we do get the Calm Mind up with the Tapu Fini, get the Foul Play off with our Mandibuzz, and do decent enough damage to it. So here, I would imagine my opponent to go for a Brave Bird, possibly into that Tapu Fini slot. May go for Supersonic Sky Strike if it is holding it. Or might even go for a Taunt into the Mandibus to stop that potential Tailwind. But I am just going to go for a Tailwind here, and I am going to go for a Muddy Water this turn with my Tapu Fini. At the moment, that Salamence isn't really causing too many issues to my team. So, we do see the Talonflame go for a Flare Blitz into the Mandibus. So we'll take a bit of recoil damage from that. And is this a devastating Drake? It is. So this will be onto my Mandibus. But again, as we've had that Misty Seed boost, we should be able to take this quite comfortably and come through this turn. Going into the next turn, hopefully, with enough health to kind of get possibly a Roost off. But we'll have to see. This will probably do decent enough damage. But yeah, nowhere near enough what my opponent really wanted it to do. So we will get the Muddy Water off here. We will take that Talonflame down and do a decent amount to the Salamence, just chipping it. No accuracy drops here, unfortunately, but we do get the Tailwind off, so that's the more important thing. Now, imagine if my opponent has got the Circuitry, we'll see that come in here. But it isn't. It is the Tapu Fini on my opponent's end of the field. Now, what I'm going to do... Oh, we see the Tapu Fini's special defense raised. Okay. So, I could go for one or two plays here. I could go for a Roost with my Mandibus. Or I could go for a Taunt onto the Tapu Fini to stop the opposing Tapu Fini setting up. But you've got to remember, I do have my Kartana in the back. So, I don't need to worry about this Tapu Fini setting up too much. So I think what I'll do is just Roost with my Mandibus, and I will go for I'm going to go for a Moonblast this turn into the Salamence, and hopefully clear that off the field. Do see a Hyper Beam from the Salamence. It's a crazy option choice, but I guess good for a last ditch move. So we will clear it off the field here with our Moonblast. And we'll see what this Tapu Fini on my opponent's end of the field does. We do get the Roost off before it, so our Mandibus is weirdly outspeeding it. Okay. So, and Tapu Fini just goes for a Dazzling Gleam here. So, fine. So my opponent did set up the Tailwind turn 1, didn't it? Just strange to see a Tapu Fini kind of being outsped by a Mandibus. That's all. But I guess we'll see this next turn, because if they did, then that'll be their last turn setting it up. So, most important thing now is to make sure that we get this Taunt off onto the opposing Snorlax, and I am just going to start going for Muddy Waters myself. Hopefully pick up some accuracy drops, but my opponent not really seeing it anywhere out from there, as we did have the Kartana in the back, and the Marowak if it came to that, but just forfeiting. So good games to my opponent there. And we may even squeeze 3 matches in today, guys, because that was a super quick one. So we'll hop straight back onto the ladder and see if we can find our next opponent pretty quickly. Like I said, today's episode, I'm just mainly focusing on just taking my time with plays and making the right plays, because I feel like the games that we lost yesterday and Monday were definitely games that we could have won. And it's a bit frustrating to come out of those games knowing that you got complacent in turns, and it's just sometimes just taking like that step back and just kind of looking at what you're doing and make sure that you're not taking too big risks, but at the same time you're not making moves that are going to put you in a situation where you are going to potentially lose the game if you allow your opponent to kind of get things set up. So that's what we kind of got to be looking out for today, just taking our time a bit more and just kind of setting ourselves up a bit better going into games. And hopefully we can feature a few of the other Pokemon that we've got on the team. I feel at the minute that we're kind of leading off. Obviously, the main lead to the team is the Tapu Fini Mandibus because it's so good. But hopefully we can feature a few more Pokemon going into these next few games. So we have a next opponent from the USA, 1581 rating, and running a team of Tapu Koko, Arcanine, Gigalith, Porygon 2, Gyarados, and Kartana. So running that ever more popular core of Porygon 2 Gigalith that we featured on the channel last week and the week before that, with the Arcanine and Gyarados as Intimidate support. So this looks a lot like one of the, I think it might be the second place Australian Nationals team that we saw from the Melbourne International this past weekend. So this will be an interesting team and see how we kind of go about playing it. So what are we going to do here? Tapu Fini. Although it's good, it's not really giving us too many options. That Arcanine is going to cause us a lot of issues as well. I feel like the Marowak could be very good here. I think I might go standard lead, but I will bring Marowak, and then what am I going to bring as my fourth choice? Kartana always makes sense. And I think I will just go for the Kartana here. Muck might have not been a bad option, but I feel like I need Kartana. If I can get the Tailwind up and prevent my opponent from setting their Trick Room up, then I'm going to be in a good position to get that Marowak on the field and start doing some good damage. We've got to be careful with that Gyarados as well. It could be Fly MZ bounce Gyarados, so that's something to keep in mind. And there's also the threat of it being able to set up a Dragon Dance whenever it wants to. So my opponent playing the lead very well here, leading off with that Gigalith and the Kartana, instantly putting pressure on both my Pokemon here. Obviously, there is the threat of the Continental Crush coming out from the Gigalith, or even a Rock Slide. But I think here what I will do is just go for a Tailwind while I can with my Mandibuzz, and I'm going to just protect my Tapu Fini here. We may lose the Mandibuzz here, but it's going to put us in a good position going into this next turn, if my opponent allows us to get this off. So we are, but as I say, we may lose the Mandibuzz, so it might be a sacrifice too much here, but we should be able to survive a Rock Slide from this Gigalith. So yeah, Mandibuzz able to take that. Now we're in not too bad a position, because we can definitely get a foul play off onto this Kartana. But the question is, we're not going to be able to. I think what I'm going to do is foul play the Kartana and bring in my own Kartana from my Tapu Fini here. Kartana should be able to take a Leaf Blade and combination of Leaf Blade and Rock Slide, so that should be fine. And there's not really much threat of that Kartana. I think at this point going for a Sacred Sword into that slot, so we should be safe going for this move. Kartana actually goes for a Protect, so we probably will just see a Rock Slide from my opponent's Gigalith here. Yeah, which Mandibuzz should be able to take again. Yeah. So I've got to make a choice here. I think I could go for a Roost with my Mandibuzz. Or is this Kartana going to be sashed? Because if this Kartana is sashed, that puts me in a really bad position where I'm going to need to kind of double target into it. But my opponent may be forced to switch it out. That's the only other thing that we could maybe think of. I'm going to double into it. I would imagine it probably is sashed. So I'm going to double into it with a Sacred Sword and a foul play, which should be enough to take out that Kartana. But my opponent cleverly switches it out into the Gyarados. The foul play should do good damage, but it is a bit disappointing because we are going to lose our Mandibuzz here to a Rock Slide potentially. Or not, because we see the Gigalith actually withdraw and the Arcanine come in. So we might be able to get a Roost off, because we have one more turn of Tailwind left. We do get a foul play onto the Gyarados. This will do good damage. Yeah. So we are going to have to kind of maneuver our board position around here, but we are going to be able, hopefully this Arcanine doesn't have extreme speed. If the Arcanine has extreme speed, then we're not in the best position at all. But whatever we do, we need to reset the Intimidate onto our Kartana. So I'm going to switch out my Kartana into my Tapu Fini here. We should be able to come in and take any attacks coming out onto it from either Pokemon. And we'll go for a Roost with our Mandibuzz. Just hopefully we get it off to kind of preserve it. So the Gyarados does go for a Protect here. Fingers crossed no Extreme Speed from this Arcanine. Yep. So we will get the Roost off with our Mandibuzz, which is the most important thing going into these next turns. And we see a Flare Blitz come out onto the Tapu Fini, I'd imagine. No, it's onto the Mandibuzz. Okay. So that's fine. That's fine. We all take a round of Sandstorm damage. Now you've got to expect my opponent to bring in the Kartana back in now, I'd imagine. Our Tailwind does petter out. I am going to go for another Tailwind with my Mandibuzz, and I'm just going to go for a Muddy Water with my Tapu Fini, because if that Kartana does come in, if we can get a Muddy Water off onto it, then at least we're potentially breaking that sash for later in the game, kind of tackling it with our own Kartana. So Gyarados revealing the Ice Fang there, Arcanine going for a Snarl onto Tapu Fini, and this is super disappointing. We drop out. So that's not cool at all. I don't think it's my end. We will get the Muddy Water off. Should do decent enough damage to both Arcanine and do a little bit of chip to the Gyarados anyway. And an accuracy drop onto the Gyarados, which is nice. Sandstorm subsides. Super disappointing. Because I think we're in a decent position to kind of really take a hold of the game there. Yeah, it wasn't on our side, so a bit unfortunate for my opponent. What I would have done there, guys, is I would have had my Kartana to bring in, and I have the Fighting Z on my Kartana, so I would have been able to get an all-out pummeling onto the Arcanine, guarantee that range to pick up the KO, and I didn't need to worry about the Kartana coming in on that slot either, because I would have just went Muddy Water and all-out pummeling into that slot, which would have basically guaranteed the KO onto the Kartana, even if it was Sashed coming in to take those attacks. Let's think what else my opponent had. What was the other Pokemon my opponent had? I can't even remember. But yeah, I think we would have had enough to maybe close out the game there. But we'll never know, so it's just a bit disappointing. But we will go into a game 3 and hopefully get a win this time. I'm going to count that last one as a win, even though it was a bit tougher. But regardless of that, we've got our next opponent from Japan, running an interesting team of Tapu Koko, Mandibuzz, Celesteela, Tapu Fini, Garchomp, and Arcanine. So some very commonly used Pokemon. Obviously, we're both running the Mandibuzz Tapu Fini combination. But I feel like with the Marowak and Kartana on our side of the field, we do have a slight... We've got to be very careful, obviously, of the Arcanine. The Garchomp will put a lot of pressure on to my Marowak, as well as that Tapu Fini on my opponent's side of the field. But maybe, is it worth bringing my Ninetails here for the Garchomp? Maybe. Don't know. Let's think. I might go Ninetails. Tapu Fini. No, I think I'm going to have to stick with what I've kind of been running, really. In all honesty, I kind of feel like I have to stick with this kind of core 4. Like, Ninetails would be really nice here, but then that Celesteela, we're not going to be doing very much to that. The Arcanine puts on a lot of pressure as well. The only thing that we're really putting a lot of pressure on from our end is the Garchomp. And there's always the possibility that my opponent thinks I may bring the Ninetails to the match, so might not bring it. But then again, we've got a lot of ground weak Pokemon in the team, so like you see, my opponent playing that very well and bringing the Garchomp here. So we see Garchomp and Mandibuzz lead from my opponent. We will get the Misty Terrain up and get the special defensive boost on our Mandibuzz, which is nice. So I think this first turn, I will go for a Calm Mind with my Tapu Fini, and I will just go for a Tailwind with my Mandibuzz. We'll see what this Garchomp goes for. Could go for a Tectonic Rage into my Tapu Fini. We should be able to take that though. It may even go for a Poison Jab as well. But we'll see what my opponent goes for here. Yeah, so we just see the Poison Jab come out from the Garchomp. Takes me down to about 50% health. We do get our Calm Mind up though, which is the nice thing here. Get our Tailwind off, and I'd imagine my opponent's Mandibuzz will probably go for a Tailwind as well. Ah, it goes for a Whirlwind. Onto my Mandibuzz. Okay. Right, okay. So Marowak was dragged out here. Now, I really want to go for a Moonblast into that Garchomp slot, but the likelihood is my opponent's probably going to protect the Garchomp slot and either go for a Tailwind with that Mandibuzz or go for another Whirlwind. But it's very risky not attacking into the Garchomp slot because it could potentially pick up a KO onto my Tapu Fini or my Marowak. Could go for Muddy Water. I think I'm going to go for a Moonblast into the Garchomp slot, and I'm going to bring in my Mandibuzz again. It's a bit unfortunate because we do lose that special defensive boost that we have just picked up. We do see the Garchomp switch out here, and the Arcanine come in for the Garchomp. So it is going to be able to take the Moonblast quite nicely, and we'll see what this Mandibuzz goes for. We do alright damage, to be honest. And the opposing Mandibuzz just goes for a Tailwind as well. So, we recover a little bit of health back with that leftovers. I wonder if the Arcanine has Wild Charge. That's the other thing to kind of think about as well. The Arcanine's got Wild Charge. I think to kind of cover my bases here, what I'll do is go for Muddy Water with my Tapu Fini, and I'll bring in my Marowak for my Mandibuzz here, because just in case it does have Wild Charge, we can kind of just cover our bases here, and at least by taking the Mandibuzz out, if the Garchomp comes back, then we've got a nice safe switch into it. So we do see my opponent go for that Wild Charge, Marowak absorbing that with the Lightning Rod, so saving Tapu Fini here, and we will get a Muddy Water off, which should be enough with the boost to take that Arcanine down and do a good bit of damage to the Mandibuzz as well. So yeah, and getting the accuracy drop on top of that. So Tapu Fini doing some big work here. We say foul play, and it probably will be into the Marowak slot, which isn't brilliant, but it was definitely worth the play there because we've got rid of that Arcanine, which is the main threat to our Kartana, really, going into the late game. At least Kartana is a lot less threatened now from the Arcanine. So we've just got to really worry about this Garchomp because it could potentially carry either Fire Fang, Fire Blast, Flamethrower. So we've got to be careful for all of those fire type moves that Garchomp is known to carry. So once the Garchomp's out of the way, I feel like Kartana can really come in and start doing some damage. Obviously, the Mandibuzz puts on a lot of pressure with the foul play. But Kartana, we do have a lot in the tank to be able to deal with that Kartana. Right. Now I think my opponent might be... I expect that what I kind of see my opponent doing is knowing that you can't attack with Thunderbolt because of the Lightning Rod, is switch in his Garchomp and go for a discharge here. So I think it is a little bit risky, but it is very risky actually. Very, very risky. Because if I lose the Marowak here, that Tapu Koko is going to be able to start and do some big damage. And he could just protect the Tapu Koko and just go for an attack into the Marowak with the Mandibuzz. I think what I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to have to Muddy Water. I don't think I've got time. Run out of time. But I wanted to Muddy Water and protect with the Marowak here. Yeah. So we see the Tapu Koko. We're probably going to lose the Marowak, which is a bit unfortunate. But we do get another Calm Mind off with the Tapu Fini. So that's not the worst thing in the world. Because we probably will lose our Marowak here. To a foul play. Yeah. So if we'd been a bit quicker thinking there, we would have been able to make the most out of that turn, potentially get Muddy Water off onto the Mandibuzz, and be sitting in a lot stronger position going into this next turn. But now, unfortunately, our Tailwind has ended. Right, I am going to... I think I'm going to have to kind of bait the... I think I'm going to have to try and bait the Thunderbolt onto my Mandibuzz to prevent the Tailwind being set up. And I'm going to go for a Moonblast onto the Tapu Koko, and I'm going to go for a Tailwind with my Mandibuzz. Because if we get the Moonblast off onto the Tapu Koko, we will be able to pick up the KO there. And if we get the Tailwind off, at least then we've got Kartana to bring in, which will be outspeeding everything. Once my opponent's Tailwind ends and start doing some work that way. But the Tapu Koko, at the minute, is putting on a lot of pressure. My opponent is quite free here just to switch out the Mandibuzz to the Garchomp. Oh dear. So we are going to see a Giga Evolve Havoc from the Tapu Koko, and maybe this is into the Tapu Fini slot. Expecting a Protect onto that slot. Again, losing the Marowak very early there is not doing us any favours, and yet it is into the Tapu Fini. They will be able to pick up the KO, which is super unfortunate. And we see my opponent's Mandibuzz go for a Roost. So we are not in a great position at all here. But my opponent's Tailwind has ended now. I've got to think what I might do. So I would imagine the Tapu Koko to protect and the Mandibuzz to go for a Tailwind here. So I might just go for a all-out pummeling into the Mandibuzz to get as much damage onto it as I can and taunt it as well to stop it getting a Tailwind up. Yeah, Tapu Koko protects. So we're going to get our Z move off here. I don't think this will KO at all. And we really want that Mandibuzz to go for a Tailwind here. So hopefully it does. We get our taunt off onto it. Let's see how much damage this does. Ugh. Okay, it's not the worst damage in the world. And then we see a berry activate. So it has a citrus berry, which is a bit unfortunate. Mandibuzz can't use Tailwind. So now we are free to kind of go for a Leaf Blade into the Tapu Koko and go for a foul play into it as well. And just fingers crossed that that is enough, because in normal situations, the Leaf Blade is a roll. So depending on how this Tapu Koko is built, that's the lowest roll in the world ever. But the foul play is enough to KO the Tapu Koko. So we do have a lifeline here. We do have a lifeline. The opposing Mandibuzz goes for a foul play into my Kartana, doing huge damage. Okay. So we're not in the best of positions at all, because it looks like it's kind of maybe going to come down to a Mandibuzz versus Mandibuzz kind of war. That Garchomp is definitely going to protect here, so I'm going to protect my Kartana, and I'm just going to foul play into to the opposing Mandibuzz, get some damage onto it. It's going to try and stall out my Tailwind. I mean, that's the only thing you can do. That Garchomp would go down to a Foul Play and Leaf Blade combination. So we don't. You see the Garchomp actually go for a Rock Slide here. So I wonder if it's actually Scarfed, which will not be doing us any favours if it is. You get the Foul Play into the Mandibuzz. Do absolutely minimal damage, and we see a Foul Play come out into the Kartana. So, right, okay. I think I'm going to have to just double into the Garchomp here. The Leaf Blade and a Foul Play. Yeah, hopefully it is Scarf Garchomp, and that's why my opponent didn't protect it there. So it looks like it is Scarfed. Hopefully we get both attacks off. Kartana takes the Rock Slide quite easily. Critical hit onto my Mandibuzz. We will get the Leaf Blade off into the Garchomp. Get a bit of rough skin damage. Manage just to hold on. Opposing Mandibuzz goes for a Foul Play. We'll pick up the KO onto my Kartana. Right. And if we can pick up the KO here with our Foul Play, we don't flinch. Right, okay. So, this is going to come down to, basically, if we can get a Roost off this next turn, then we're sitting in not a bad position. Because we haven't seen Roost from my opponent's Mandibuzz yet. Making this way more difficult than it needs to be. Yeah, so my opponent going for a Foul Play, trying to pick up the KO there on my Mandibuzz. Not going to be enough. We are going to get the Roost off. Just in case my opponent does have Roost, I am going to just go for a Taunt onto it. And again, at the same time, we're just burning some of its PP. I do apologise, guys. This might go on a bit longer, but my opponent actually seeing that he doesn't have Roost. We never saw it, and I do, so I kind of would have won out there. So we'll take that win. Very close at the end there, but just managed to kind of pull it out. So, like we said, guys, kind of set off the day, wanting 3 wins. We got our first one. Second one might have been a bit iffy, but we'll take it. Obviously, my opponent disconnecting there, which is a bit unfortunate for my opponent. And then we managed to kind of eke out a little win there at the end. So, goal set and matched. But we will end the episode there, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you've got any questions about the team, please leave your comments in the message section below. And please leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed this episode. I would really like to hear your kind of comments about the matches. If you've got questions about why I made certain players, why I did, what this Pokemon's doing or what it's bringing to the team and stuff like that. So if you've got any questions at all about anything to do with the team or the episodes that you've seen this week, do leave a comment in the section below. Leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed the episode. It's hugely appreciated. And subscribe to the channel for all your daily updates when these new episodes are coming out. Like I say, we will have a QR code special straight after this episode. So in about an hour's time, expect to see that. And we'll have another exciting team to feature on the channel then. But guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Your support is massively appreciated. You are like the best guys and girls in the world. Yes, and I will see you tomorrow with another episode of School Hard Knocks. So, until then, guys, you enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you later. So, until then, bye-bye.